This is the Amp Hour Podcast, episode 21, recorded on December 14th, 2010. More Freeagle, more benches, and more engineers on Twitter.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble from Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
Hey Chris, I made it today.
Yeah, a little snafu yesterday, but no big deal.
Yeah, if people weren't following the tweets, yes, I did actually forget to turn up and record the show yesterday. So, oops, sorry.
Won't be the last time, won't be the first time.
No, won't be the last time, won't be the first time it's happened either.
Yeah.
Oh dear. What can you do? Doesn't matter.
Record the next day, that's what we can do.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an engineer, I don't follow schedules and shit, I just work on whims, you know.
Good, yeah,
So,
that's...
Yeah, I've said before, if my life gets that complicated where I've got to keep a diary of stuff, of things I've got to do, then that's when I go bush. Nah.
Yeah.
Life's too complicated when you get to that point, I think. Anyway,
Yeah, I
some
don't know if I'll ever
engineers
get
like
there.
lists and...
Yeah. I know the... So, to start us off, the one person that's like that, obviously, and one person you like talking about, and one person that one of our listeners, Harry, told us about, the WOZ, was on
Yep.
Wait, Don't Tell Me, which is a...
which is the first time I've heard of that. It's an NPR thing, right? One of those
Right.
National Public Radio
another
things.
NPR
right?
thing, right? And it's like this kind of comical game show kind of thing. And he was calling in, though, so you could tell he's kind of busy, and because I think they even recorded out there. Or no, it's not.
Right.
It's in Chicago. I'm sorry. I think it's in Chicago.
Right.
But yeah, it was hilarious. I mean, and they were talking about some interesting stuff with how you get started in computers, and I don't know, just a little thing for you if you get a chance to listen. I don't know.
Cool. Well, I'm reading through the transcript of it now, but the transcript's not nearly as good as, you know, actually listening to it on the radio. So, yeah, I'll have to do that.
Yeah, that's good. It was
that
good.
will go on today.
Excuse me. Seasonal stuff. Lovely. It's just
Seasonal stuff.
Getting sick, getting ready for the holidays. It's all there, you know?
Speaking of seasonal stuff, well, you wanted to talk about Christmas ideas.
Yeah.
Might as well throw that in there.
Right. Well, I mean, I know what I've got on my list. But I was wondering if you had any stuff on your shopping list for the all holy consumerist season, and
That's
maybe
it.
some new gear or something. You got a new scope coming your way or anything?
Well, I got some stuff coming my way, not via Santa Claus, but via the manufacturers. So hopefully that'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm getting something real interesting in the new year. I'm not allowed to say what, but there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. So
see, now do you
in
trust
a week or a couple of weeks?
Do you trust other people to buy your electronic stuff for you ever? That's the real question.
No, not really. No, I'd probably, unless I told them exactly what I wanted, then no.
That's what I sent
Not
links.
at all.
I was like, if you're going to get me something, get me that. I'm looking for like some new magnification stuff for my lab, and I was like, get me this one, or else maybe not. Maybe
well, that was the same for me. I gave Nicole, my wife, a list of possible items, and one of them was also a lamp for my workbench. You know, one of those big magnifying, illuminated magnifying lamps. And then she, of course, she knows me, so she knew, what are the criteria? And then I started going through the criteria, and the eyes just rolled in the back of her head, and she went, "I think you should get that one." So
why don't you just line up the website and I'll click buy?
That's it. So you can come along and click the buy it now.
Maybe she can offer to like answer the door when the delivery man gets there or something. You know, like
exactly.
That's how the electronics gift giving happens. You know, the the very auxiliary things. I forgot what else I put on there. I don't think I put any like hand tools or anything. I think the magnification was one, and what else was on there? Oh man. Maybe a solder sucker I put on there or something. Kind of really nerdy stuff to put on there, you know. But
yep, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm in desperate need of a new stool for the lab, because if you've watched my live show, you've seen that my stool's been broken for 6 months, and you would think from an engine, like, it's got 5 legs on the bottom of it. I might have to post a photo of it.
Yeah.
But you would think that with, 5 legs, you would think that if one leg breaks, it'd be reasonably stable with the extra 4 legs. But, it's not. It's ridiculous. And I have grave fears about my safety on this thing. I've got to turn the broken thing to put at the back, and then I've got to wedge the chair up against the desk so I don't fall backwards. And it's like I'm going to fall over and crack my head open one day.
Yeah,
they'll just find me on the floor dead with blood gushing out of my head in the lab.
I mean, it's even worse. I mean, there's the slow death stuff too. I mean, get hemorrhoids or something.
Right.
I don't know. I just remembered that was on my list as well. I asked for like a new chair too, because right now I'm sitting on a wooden chair with a car seat warmer on it. In my
seat warmer.
my frigid basement. So it's pretty ghetto. I don't think I'll take a picture of it, but it's
Ghetto, is that's US US speak, huh? It's ghetto.
Yeah, you never heard that one. Do we finally have
I know what ghetto is. I've heard ghetto. It's a common term, but I've never heard it used as an expression like that before. So yeah.
Wow, that's a first.
There you go.
I can't say I'm proud of that expression, but yeah, it's
right.
I finally have an expression that you don't know. That's the thing that I'm amazed at.
Because Australians usually know the American expressions, but not vice versa. So because we watch far too much American. Yeah, we watch far too much American TV. So
that's true.
Dear, oh dear, yes. I've got an expression that we use here. If we're going to butcher something, then you'll go, we're going to get medieval on its ass. We're going to get medieval.
Yeah, I've heard that one before.
Use old-fashioned axes to hack it apart or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard that one before, but
right.
Yeah, there's some others of yours that they're a little out there.
Right.
So yeah,
any Christmas projects at all?
No, I'm still working on some. I'm working on an LED thing, but it's not for Christmas or Hanukkah or Festivus or anything like that.
Right.
I don't know. There's a lot out there, but the lighting projects they can only go so far.
Well, I know. I noticed that Adafruit this year put on a disclaimer on their website saying, we guarantee we will not have a flashing LED Christmas tree project.
Yeah.
And people were so sick of them that they sort of,
I didn't see that Dancing Santa contest. I think that's still going on, the Make one.
Yeah, that's right. I saw the announcement. And
I haven't heard anything about it, so that could be interesting seeing the results of that eventually. But I don't have anything like that. I don't know. There's there's only certain things you can do, I guess. Maybe not. That's a horrible thing to say.
Yeah, I know. I was going to have a flying spaghetti monster Christmas tree LED flasher, but I don't have time. You got to lay out the board in the shape of the spaghetti monster. It's just
you would have done it on a board.
Actually, on a board, to be shaped.
That'd be a great Christmas tree ornament. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty cool, but I'll do it next year. Somebody will probably gazump me there. But,
yeah, well,
there's always, what can you do?
There's always more of the lovely Christmas season to be had, so I won't be sorry to see it gone. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got quite a few workbenches of the week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we do.
Not really workplace. Should we actually rename it Workbench of the Week instead of Workplace of the Week? Because I think we're just getting workbenches. That's pretty much all we're getting. So,
that's okay.
Which is great. Which is fine.
Yeah. My initial thought with that was if there was going to be multiple people listening. Hopefully to get. I think we should get a double bonus shout out. No, that doesn't sound right. But if you ever have 2 people in a picture,
that's shout out here.
Yeah. There's. I mean, if you ever get 2 people in a picture, that'd be doubly impressive because we haven't seen that yet. But at the same time, we still like seeing benches.
It'd be more impressive if you got every employee in the company to cram into the lab, like, like into one of those phone booths. Everyone sort of crams in and then...
Hopefully it's the small office.
Yeah.
Maybe just the engineering department.
OH&S would go go ape shit, I think.
Yeah.
So, anyway, our first workplace of the week is Henrik, if we pronounce that correctly. It could be Heinrich.
Right.
I don't know, but I reckon the Australian pronunciation's Henrik.
Right.
And
he's got that first loud. I think that he started his blog doing this. This is his first entry.
Yes, he did, and he put up the Amp Hour logo, and he's not in the photo, unfortunately. He did reply saying that he would post another one with himself in it, but he's got the basic desk set up, which is pretty much all you need. He's got the Freeagle scope there. He's got a soldering iron. I don't recognise the brand. It's one of those, I don't know. It's something weird. I'm not sure. And he's got a little bench power, one of those slim-looking power supplies,
RSR
which looks quite neat. Yeah. And a little bench multimeter. Not a huge fan of the bench multimeter. I prefer the handheld, as people know.
We know about that,
Yeah, well...
I like that clamp he's got on there, though. The one on the edge of the desk. That thing's awesome.
Yeah,
people are listening right now. You should check that out.
Yeah, it's nice. It's one of those little Panavice. Well, that's a brand name,
Right.
Thing, and he's got a and that's pretty much it. It looks like he's working on some little project with a motor and wheels, like a little robot-y.
Yeah.
With a clear perspex thing, and he's got a little breadboard there, and it's all neat and tidy.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the thing that strikes me, and he even wrote about that. Is good lord. Throw some resistors around.
Neat,
Please, just spill some coffee somewhere.
He does admit that it's not usually that tidy, maybe he tidied up or something like that. But and he's got the Atmel, the old Atmel STK 500, which I hate. The development board, it's a nasty little...
Right.
It's very flexible and powerful, but it's just a nasty little...
Is that the one where you had the design blog where you were like... You were like screaming into the camera.
Yes, I think I did. Yeah, I think Atmel versus Pick or something. Yeah, that's right. I flashed it around and said it was, not that great. No, I prefer in-system programmers. This one, it's got like cheap little sockets on it, and it's just you've got to put jumper wires everywhere to configure all the different chips, and I don't like it.
Pass.
Anyway,
pass.
Yeah.
Well, he already jumped in too, and people should check out his projects. He's got some cool projects already started on here.
Oh, okay.
So he actually he moved his blog over to a personal one because the first one was at Blogspot. But he's already started kind of jumping right in, and I don't know if it was us talking about starting a blog to put up projects, but if it was, that's awesome. And if not, who cares? It's still awesome that he's even documenting, and he's doing a good job so far. So
excellent,
it's great.
Yeah, he's got an ultrasonic rangefinder, and that probably coincides with that little robot looking thing with the wheels, because robots usually have a little ultrasonic rangefinder on them, so I reckon that is going onto the onto his little robot there. So excellent, thanks, Henrik.
Yeah, and I have to say too, I love Norway's top level domain, the .no. I think that's awesome.
That's great. I really haven't seen that before.
Yeah, me neither. It must be getting big now. Maybe it's starting up, but. Yeah, I wish I could get more of those. It's really expensive to get, like how Bitly has the link shortener, bit.ly. It's you look into that, and that's Liberia, I think, and it's
and
super expensive.
Really, like thousands of dollars or something.
Yeah, or like the guy that started WordPress, Matt Mullenweg. He's got a they're called top level domain hacks, and his is ma.tt, and .tt domain is Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
And he is one of the only people with that top level domain at all, and he had to go lobby the government there to get it.
Oh, no, really?
Talk about geek cred, you really gotta want it. So absolutely. And my favorite thing, I feel remiss if I wouldn't say, I have checked, and chr.is is a real thing. I forget what .is is, but the only thing that's there is a single HTML file that the guy made, and he says, "This domain is not for sale, nor will it ever be." I went there the first time, and I'm like, "Oh, well, I guess that solves that one."
Oh dear.
Anyways, that's not even close to electronics related, but I thought it was fun.
No. And next up, we've got who is it? Sylvain.
Yeah.
If that's how Sylvain. You pronounce it, Sylvain. Yes. And let's take a look. What have we got here? We've got. I'm calling up. He is.
Yeah, mine's going kind of slow too. He's got a couple handhelds up there. I think. Looks like that might be a Fluke 87 up there, up on top.
No, it's not. Oh, no, I think it's a Fluke. Anyway.
Well, he also he challenged everyone to figure out what he's working on there, and yeah.
Right. Well, he's got an Agilent He's got an Agilent 1, and
Yeah.
he's got a HP, an old HP. Is that a scope or is that a network?
No, I think it's either network
like
or
a network. It's a network analyzer, is it?
maybe a spectrum analyzer, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's got a
Yeah,
single.
it's probably
Yeah, it is.
Spectrum.
It's got like a single RF input.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing some
All right.
fancy GSM work or something like that. So,
Right.
and I thought, and he challenged us too because there's a big white oval looking thing at the top, and it looked like a George Foreman grill. You ever seen those?
Right, yeah, I've seen the George Foreman. That
Yeah.
doesn't look anything like a George
Oh yeah,
Foreman
it does.
grill.
It looks like a George Foreman grill.
Oh,
I think it
right.
does.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Right, it's a...
That looks like a soldering
That's
iron.
the one with the one Ethernet cable going into
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
it. Okay. Right,
Yeah.
yes, it kind of does. Yeah, it's got the slats on it to drain all the fat out, just like the George Foreman
Yep.
grill. And
See, now we like this. This is nice, and this is a very messy desk. That's
Yep,
what we expect
absolutely.
to see.
solder paste everywhere.
Clean
He's
is
got
okay,
a tiny looking
but,
board there, which
Yeah.
probably work in progress. And he looks like he's got a bottle of flux there, just ready
Yeah.
to be spilled everywhere. Great. That's
You know,
what
I
you
always
want.
get thrown off when I see plugs that aren't the North American style. I know that's totally American of me, but
Yep.
I every time it happens, I'm like, wait, what is that? And I'm like, oh, right, people have different plugs.
different plugs in different parts of the world. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but yeah, still throws me off every single time. I don't know.
Right.
I'm gonna be one of those. I'm gonna be one of those stupid Americans that goes to Europe sometime and tries just jamming mine in there, and just seeing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why isn't it working? Or I'll show up and have to pay, triple the price in the hotel gift shop. I bet they bank off
Nice.
people like that.
All
Yeah.
right. Who else we got?
Let's see.
We'll go through them quick. We've got
David?
David.
Mike. Oh, David?
No, David.
Oh,
There's
David. That's right. We have 4
There's
today.
A David. And,
yeah, so we're getting through these.
Yep, it's another one bench, like a desk kind of thing. And there's me. There's my new intro up on the screen.
Oh, yeah,
there, the
yeah, I saw
EEV
that.
blog intro.
Where-
And he's got a
where's the picture
Rigol
of me,
scope
huh?
and a.
Oh, right.
Sorry, dude.
That's okay.
He's
Next
got
time. Next time.
looks like a cheap ass yellow multimeter up on top there.
Yeah.
He's got a Rigol scope, as everyone does. He's got looks like a PC power supply used
Yeah.
as a, just a junked old 300 watt PC supply as his bench supply and a breadboard, and
Yeah,
that's
that's
all you
great.
need.
Yeah, that's
I don't
awesome.
see the
And he said
soldering
he was traveling too, or like this is set up in a rental house. So
Oh, okay. This is his.
this is like
right.
a
He's
temp
got a couple
setup.
of parts bins.
That is
yeah.
impressive. If you're hauling your electric gear with you, electronics gear with
Yeah,
you,
that's pretty good.
to go tinker in your free time while you're working on the job. That's pretty awesome. Especially if you have to get through any kind of American airport security.
Especially with those parts bins. Have you ever tried to transport those parts bins with the parts in them?
No, I would
It's
just
amazing.
assume.
Oh, it's shocking.
What do you do?
Because usually they're not. The parts will jump out over the sides of the thing. So,
Oh, God.
even though the drawers are in there and you tape over the front and everything,
Yeah.
inside there's all these gaps where the parts can just fall out.
Oh, and then the drawers probably get stuck and everything, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
my
it's
goodness.
not good.
That sounds like when you were moving houses, you had to do that.
When you move in house or you move in lab to a different company or a different
So is there a better
building
solution or
something.
what?
No, not really. You've just got to hand carry them. You've just got to carry them always upright. You can't shake them around or do anything
Yeah.
like that. So
What you do is you
Yeah,
dump
you're-
everything into one big garbage bag, and then you sort through them by hand when you get back.
right, yeah, that's the way.
Yeah.
How to spend a week when you
Three
get back
years
doing
later,
no work at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll get really good at noticing markings on chips and stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
And last but not least is Mike from Mike's Electric Stuff. He's a big listener of the Amp Hour and the EEV blog as well. And check it out, it's awesome.
I didn't see this one yet. Let me check.
Oh, it's a panorama.
In the
He's done a
meantime,
panorama.
I'm pretty sure Mike is the one who gave us the show's name, right?
Was it either Mike or John?
I think it was Mike.
It was Mike, was it?
Yeah,
Oh, well,
I think he
thanks
was
for
on
that,
the
Mike.
forum, and oh my God, this is an awesome picture.
There you go.
I
You've
hadn't
just
seen
seen
this
it.
yet. Oh my God! All right, so just to try and describe in case anyone can't view it. Sorry, we haven't been as descriptive on here. I guess we have.
No.
But
It's a 360 degree panorama.
Oh my
basically,
God! This is
it's
amazing.
Tiny. It's a small lab, right?
It doesn't
But-
look small because it's because he just turned around and
Yeah. But I can guarantee you, I think it's pretty darn small, and I think he says so as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is just got stuff everywhere. It's like a U-shaped bench, which is a very efficient kind of
I like that.
way to do it. He's got a whole bunch of gear up on shelving.
Yeah.
Parts bins, galore, just stacked right to the roof, literally to the roof.
How does he?
And,
where's the door? Where?
Okay, good point. Where is the
he comes
door?
in. Maybe this is like a bunker. He climbs in from the ceiling. Oh, you have to go all the way.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, it's where the cables
I
are.
think he comes through the window there.
He's got cables piled all over the door, and that's
I
actually a
know.
pretty decent way to store them. I mean, they still get tangled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen actually.
Unbelievable.
How do you store cables, Dave? Do you do like over the door?
Well, yeah, at work, at places I've worked, we do a similar thing, like a rack where you just hang them up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have network cable racks that are just perfect for it. I love those. But they're
hang them up. But at home here in the home lab, they're just scattered everywhere. So I've got to spend 5 minutes looking for a lead. He does have them at the top. I didn't notice that. He's got the same kind of racks at the top, so those are nice. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this is actually a 360-degree panorama, because you're right, there is no door.
No, it is. I think it's mounted on the door. You see, so he's got the cables
it's the back
there.
of the door.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think so.
Oh, right, yes, no, I do see the door now. It's sort of off to the side, so it's
Yeah.
not quite a square room. Okay,
Right.
The door's behind the cables. Okay,
Wow.
and he's got huge LED projects, because Mike's big into LED, big commercial LED projects.
Yeah.
He's got a pick-and-place machine in there.
Where the heck is
Check
that?
it out.
Is that on the floor?
It's
No.
right next to the cables. You can see
next
the
to the
reels.
cables?
They're already on the actual machine. They're already loaded in.
All the way to the right?
It's
Oh my God.
if you find the window, if you go to the window.
Oh, the
sorry,
window.
people. I know you can't see
I
this.
know,
You're probably
yeah.
listening to this in
would
the
have
car.
been better for yeah. Oh my God, you're right. He does. So he has a full pick and place machine in this tiny little lab. It's not that tiny, but
No, it's not that tiny. But yeah, there's a pick and place machine. He's got like a little mechanical bench as well. There's his reflow oven as well. So he's got all the reflow gear and all that sort of stuff.
God help his maid if he has. I don't think he has a maid, but whoever the hell has to clean this place. Like, wow. This is
great. This is a real lab. I love
this
it.
is a spectacular picture.
Yep.
Wow, and books galore. Wow. See, now, do you keep any books in your lab anymore, Dave?
Not in the lab. No, there's no room for labs. There's no room for books in the lab. I've got books here in the study. They're in the cupboard here. I'm going to refit my cupboard. I should probably take a photo of
Before and after.
Well, I will.
Yeah.
I'll take a photo before and after
that's good.
I do it. At the moment, I've got sort of a big bookcase in there. I want to rip that out, put in shelving so I can put component boxes and stuff
that's
like
brilliant.
that. So make it a bit more modular and... Yeah.
See, now the one thing I was always surprised about with your lab is that it's a lot smaller than I thought, because you always are sitting in front of the instrument panels, and so it looks like it's really expansive, but it's actually because your computer's right in front of you. It seems like it's further back, but it's actually right there.
Yeah,
so it's almost like
it's literally less than a meter away from me as the camera, and that sits on the other bench.
Right.
I've showed photos. There's photos up there, and there's two one side, and I think it's 2.5 meters by 2.5 meters or something. It is not a big lab. It is tiny.
It's just right.
Just a little
right?
nook in my garage.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It gets the job done. It's just right.
It gets the job done. Yeah. Exactly. And if you actually clean off the benches, there are 2 full benches there to work on. So
that's awesome.
But as I've mentioned before, there's no room for vices or any other drill presses or any other mechanical stuff. So
yeah. When you start getting into that stuff, I mean, I don't know. It might be worthwhile to sign up for hackerspace or something like that, and
or something like that.
Of the space
I've got
constraints.
folding workbench. If I want to work on wood stuff, I've got folding workbenches I bring out. I take the car out of the garage and I get the tools out of the cupboards from up above that you can see.
If you ever go full time, you should be like, oh, you know what? I have to build a huge shed out back or something.
Well, I've tried for the shed. No, it's already been vetoed. No,
try
not allowed
again,
to have a
Dave.
shed.
When it's part of the income, picture, then it's a business expense. Then.
No, we have something called the Summer Oasis here, and that's her little sanctuary. It's got a fish pond and everything else, and it's a perfect place for a huge.
I know, right?
50-foot
Just knock
shed.
those fish right out of there. Who needs
And
fish?
she wants some stupid little thing with a fish pond and a couple of plants and a fake fence and
I definitely wanted to. I have a really big backyard. It's great for the. I don't know if did you see the pictures I posted of the dogs?
No, I haven't.
Oh no, I posted pictures of the dogs because in this instead of posting it because we didn't get to record yesterday. And but we have this huge backyard here, and I want to just like put like a shack back there, like a ham shack, basically. But I want to make it monstrous, and I don't know if I'd ever be able to or be able to afford it. But man, there's some dreams in my head for sure. Oh man, I can't wait.
Dude, sheds are pretty cheap. Sheds aren't expensive,
right?
know?
Well, it's the heating and the cooling around here. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, that's something we don't have to worry about. Well, we have to worry about the cooling here, but you just grin and bear it,
Yeah.
During summertime. So
yeah. Just
well, my lab was 35 degrees Celsius the other day. I was out there shooting that, shooting the DigiKey blog, and it was like 35 degrees, and
wow,
that was at 7 o'clock at night or something. So
dang,
yeah,
it is really summer there, huh?
It is. Yeah, I love it.
That's great. That's enviable. Especially around here.
But not so much because the house is air conditioned, but the lab isn't. So if I go out there and you see beads of sweat coming down my face, you'll know that.
Yeah.
And especially when sometimes I've got to spend an hour or two out there filming a blog.
Yeah.
If it's a half hour, 1 hour long one, that might take me 2 hours to film maybe.
Yeah. I'd be interested of people like we have pictures of labs now, and hopefully we'll keep getting more. I'd be interested to know about like longest stretches we've heard of people spending in their own lab. Obviously there's work labs that are different, but
right.
Some people can go for a long time. I think I've only done like 1 or 2 hours before I have to kind of step back and take a couple breaks.
Really? Oh well. When I was a boy,
back in the
day, this isn't lab, but back when I'd be a nerdy programmer, right? I would literally work for 48 hours non-stop programming.
Really?
And I had the attention span and the stamina to actually do that these days.
What a waste.
Forget it. Yeah, I would work all week, the whole weekend, 48 hours straight, just coding, and and it wasn't unusual when I was a kid to spend all day in the shed. I go out there at 6 a.m. and I come out at 10 o'clock or something at night. So, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And Mike's got a Mantis lamp as well.
A Mantis
He's got one of those awesome Mantis lamps.
Where's that?
I love those.
I lost it. Shootsky.
Well, that's okay. It's one of those 3D stereoscopic microscopes. They cost many thousands of dollars, and we have one at work, and it's just brilliant. That's why I prefer soldering at work than my home lab, because we've got the Mantis there. And
those things are great too. When you don't have to put your eye directly to the eyepiece, and instead like it's a 2-eye display kind of thing. Those are awesome. And
you can actually move your head around, and you can sort of kind of see under components. It's great. It is actually 3D stereoscopic. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think
they do cost money. So, but I've heard you can, if you're lucky, you can pick them up on eBay cheap, but they're highly valued. So
right.
You'll be very lucky to pick one up.
We need like
cheaply.
It's surprising people haven't started putting together like like 2 webcams. You think you'd be able to do that kind of thing with like 2 webcams now instead of 2 optical, because right now it's optical based.
I've seen people do it. There's been prototype systems, but nobody's come out with like a really nice sort of, here it is sort of finished product kind of thing. So. Anyway, that's enough for the shout-outs for the workbench of the week, I think.
Yeah, workbench of the week, right?
On workbench of the week, right. Yes. Near enough. So, thanks, guys. So if you've got a workbench, please take a photo and make sure you're in it, because that's much more exciting than just the workbench on its own. We like you in the shot, giving us a thumbs up.
It would have been creepy if Mike took a picture of himself in every one of those panorama shots.
It would have.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Trippy kind of lab shot there, but whatever. Yeah.
Right. What else have we got?
Well, we do have a sort of shout out. I don't know how I feel about it. So IEEE has a podcast.
I saw that. They've got a whole bunch of...
They do, yeah. They kind of
a whole bunch of different podcasts?
Yeah, so they kind of span... They classify a lot of their articles, and, we give them a hard time here for IEEE, but not the magazine as much as the organization.
Oh, no, the magazine's quite good.
Right. So but the podcast itself is usually segmented into, like, aviation or whatever kind of electronics that they're working on, like sensors or blah, blah, blah. So at first I couldn't actually find it. You can't actually find... I found the feed eventually, just the podcast RSS feed. And then later I found under multimedia, there's a link that just goes to the podcast too. So we'll throw that link up there. There's some interesting ones, but...
Yeah, I've listened to I started to listen this morning to the computing one with Stephen Cherry, and he interviewed somebody about the new Chinese supercomputer or something like that, and yeah, it was, it's interesting. So there's tons of podcasts out there. If you really go out there, if you're passionate about, hearing podcasts, and there's no shortage out there, really.
Is passionate about hearing podcasts also known as bored at work or bored in the car?
Right, bored at work, yes, that's right. You sit there with the headphones on and pretend to... We
hope we're entertaining you as you're bored at work or just sitting at work or sitting in your car. Honk if you're listening in your car right now.
Honk if you're listening. What's this? You added this. I only saw this link this morning. Squishy circuits.
Oh yeah. So that's actually an article from IEEE. They started getting. Basically, they're talking about it for neural interfacing. So having like a gallium arsenide circuit that's be able to directly interface to a neuron.
Right. And it uses liquid metal in some hydrogel or something? That's what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, it's some weird stuff. But I was thinking about it in our continuing, although hopefully not continuing too much debate of printable at-home micro
Dude, you got owned
circuits,
on that.
whatever.
Seriously.
Whatever.
You've been owned. I'm sorry. Everyone agreed with me.
They did eventually, but you know what?
Yep.
That's fine.
There
I will
you
be
go.
vindicated in the near future. We will continue to monitor.
Near future. He's called it, folks. He's called it
Well,
near
I didn't
future.
define near future.
Right.
In the cosmic sense, it's,
In the cosmic
50
sense.
50
Here we
years
go.
isn't that long, far away, right? I mean,
If we haven't blown ourselves up,
it'll
problems,
definitely
right?
be before the sun explodes.
Right.
I'm calling that one right now.
You're calling it. Okay.
Right. And if
Well
the world
done.
ends, then there's no one to call me on it.
Oh, dear.
I'm the next Ray Kurzweil right there. Yeah.
All right. So there you go. Squishy circuits. That's the new thing, is it?
Yes.
Right.
Well, yeah. I don't
Okay.
know. We'll see. We'll see if it works out. But it's always like IEEE and even like EE Times and EDN and all those guys. They always try and get the scoop on the newest thing. So and it ends up they're reading research papers, which are really quite interesting. But you got to wait 10 years. They were probably reporting on Wi-Fi 20 years ago, right, or whenever that was first being developed, right? But people ignored it at that point, and then they moved on. And eventually, it gained momentum, and a lot more of the stuff that they talked about was in the crapper now. So there's, it's
Good old Thomas Crapper, huh?
Yeah,
He gets a lot of coverage.
yeah. So I don't know. It's we'll see about the squishy circuits and the printable circuits. I was a little mad.
I just love the name, Squishy Circuits. It works. It's catchy.
Yeah, they're always
I
talking
love
about like organic and plastic circuits too, and when do you really start defining a circuit? When is it? If like a lot of things can pass electricity, a lot of things are resistive and conductive.
Is it a circuit?
Right?
Well,
Yeah. I mean, does it have to be a a 3-5 semiconductor
Well, I
kind of
think
thing?
it's got to have a semiconductive nature.
Okay,
Because what makes our modern electronics are semiconductors. So everything can pass electricity. In fact, everything can. Everything has resistance.
Right.
So that's, even air has resistance. So it's not
An air circuit.
an air circuit, exactly.
Right. I made the best
yeah,
resistor ever.
So yeah, I think it comes down to it's a semiconductor. You've got to make a semiconductor out of it.
Yeah.
And then not just one big transistor. You've got to make an integrated circuit out of it. So
Right, yeah, and be able to have
Pretty
logic
much.
levels and everything else like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean,
Because our world is digital and analog, so it's got to have
a little bit of both.
both properties.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a follow up from Element 14 / Eagle.
Freeagle, right?
who-
The Freeagle campaign.
They got onto our Freegle campaign and they tweeted, and it looks like they don't really understand it. They don't get it, I don't think.
Well, I think they do, but I don't think they want to do anything about it.
They don't agree. They tweeted back to us that basically they think that they have the Duck's Guts product, okay?
Right.
And they've marketed it correctly and it's the right price, and they just don't agree that it's the wrong price or that they've got their limits wrong. Their limit being board size instead of layers, which is what I wanted, or some other aspect.
They didn't really address that very well, did they?
No, they didn't address it at all. They just skimped over it. And the reason being they think it's a good idea is not only because they think it's a good idea, but also because it's easier for them to implement in the software, a size limitation as opposed to a layer limitation. That was their excuse anyway. Well, I don't believe it. I think I think they're wrong, and I think if they're not careful, RS Design Spark will kick their ass, and because their one is completely without limits.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know how they compare on a usability factor, but just from a sheer bang per buck, when you're talking free, RS Design Spark wins.
Right, and the the thing that they were pushing is, the thing that we talked about is the fact that they're owned by Element 14, and that's like a really big deal, because if they tie in their BOM eventually, that's like a big, that's a big deal, and that's how they could actually make money off of it. That's what Design Spark
are doing too.
Right, exactly.
But granted, Element 14 are bigger than RS in terms of not here in Australia. I think RS actually has a bigger market share than Farnell's, or Element 14.
Right.
But they're more. But RS are really into a lot of the industrial mechanical stuff, markets as well. Whereas Element 14 are more in the electronic component market. So
well, and they were treating the fact that they're tied in not as a reason for revenue, because obviously that would bring Element 14 revenue, right? If you have 1,000 people using Eagle, and then you give them all the ability to one-click buy all of the parts that are designed into the thing, then you're going to get probably, some percentage, probably similar to the, percentage of like ad click-through kind of stuff, like 1 to 2% or whatever it is. And you're going to get like just a direct sale out of that. And that's awesome, right? And that's what would pay for the software. That's what the point we were making. And they came back and they were talking about, well, no, this is a feature. And the fact that you're allowed to buy it from us directly eventually, because it's not implemented yet, is a feature. And that's why you should still be paying.
Make no mistake, the reason Element 14 bought Eagle is not because they want to run an EDA company, not because they want to supply an EDA tool and be nice guys. They want to sell parts, right? Yeah. That's the sole reason. And I guarantee you a ton of effort, and they've even admitted this, I think, a ton of effort is going into that BOM thing, so that they will eventually have every footprint and every data sheet linked and every schematic symbol linked to every component in the Element 14 library. Right. Now, in the Element 14, 100,000 parts, right? Or 200,000 parts, however many they have. That is the ultimate goal.
Right.
And when it becomes that easy, then, people will naturally buy that because it spits out a BOM with all the Farnell part numbers. Element 14. God, I hate name changes. That's the whole idea. That's the sole reason they bought them, not because they want to get into the EDA business.
And if they didn't buy them for that reason, then they're doing something wrong. They've been had, right?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
No, I think they've even admitted this. This isn't a big revelation or whatever. I'm sure it's it's been their stated goal from day one is to provide that bill of material service. And it will eventually, I'm not sure what it includes at the moment, but it will eventually include PCB, footprints for every part, schematic symbol and datasheet links, because that's the big thing now is datasheet links, as well as spitting out the BOM. So it's not just a BOM thing.
Right, yeah.
It will get much better. Right. And RS will be doing exactly the same thing. They matched it. That's why they went out and bought rights to the number one systems.
You have to be imagining that Mauser and DigiKey are going to jump in some manner in the future as well. Because if they're not, they're the big players still, but they're going to get in somehow.
Well, they are, because they're already got links into Altium Designer, into Cadence and other packages like that. They actually open up their database to companies like those, and you can link directly in. So
nice. I haven't done the direct stuff yet, so I've
that's the future of electronics, and it's happening now. It's the big future when all that info is just included in your single part librry. It's great.
Right.
I love it.
I think the impressive thing too here is I think Element 14 was ready for this, because they, we started harassing them about it on Twitter, and they made one of the guys from CADSoft get a Twitter account and start talking to us.
That's right. They actually start. Yes, we've got power. We force them to start a Twitter account.
It was nice of them. That's nice to have.
It was. No, it was good.
I know that some of their answers are a little, iffy.
Vague?
But, not vague, but like kind of politically driven and, we're not going to stop charging yet. We like having revenue kind of thing. And that's okay. That's their choice. We're just predicting the future here. And,
absolutely.
So it's CADSoft Tech. If you're interested in following them on Twitter, hopefully everybody's on Twitter because we like it. They are at CADSoft Tech. So at symbol CADSoft Tech. And I'm looking at it right now, and it said the guy Edwin hasn't been posting much, but as fate would have it, he just tweeted that they added a PCB quote service as like one of the scripts, one of the ULPs.
Oh.
So this could be the beginning of
who's that through?
What's that?
Who's the quote thing through? Who's the?
I can only imagine it's through
provider?
Element 14. Oh, I get it. Okay, so it's for a PCB quote.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it must be. PCB service.
We'll have to check out the details.
Yeah, so there's breaking news. This just in.
That'll be the next thing. And then they'll be quoting assembly as well, because all that info can go to the assembler, and then there'll be turnkey solutions.
Yeah, and then eventually mechanical and everything else. Yeah, it's just all going to be one big pipeline, and then they're going to all have these awesome, like, back end deals with the different distributors, whoever, and then it's really smart on their part because at the end, if Element 14 owns the entrance to that pipeline, they're going to charge for the right to have it, which also means they shouldn't charge the users. I'm just going to say it.
Right.
Again.
And this is a realistic future. This is going to happen as opposed to your silly pie-in-the-sky chip-making business.
Oh, there we go.
Let's not go there. Sorry, I had to get it in there. I had to get it in.
Yeah. So, anyways, keep watching on Twitter. Well, I mean, a lot of people like Eagle. I use Eagle. I use other stuff too. But it's interesting to watch this stuff, especially because they are jumping into Twitter and letting us keep track of them. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of Twitter, there's 2 points. No, we don't have a Twitter account because I think we prefer our separate accounts. It's sort of diluting the
we don't want to, we don't want to mix the record collections in case we split up, Right. It would be hard on the kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we've both got big followers on our own individual accounts. So I think and then we won't know, and then we'd have to agree on something before we tweet it, possibly. Otherwise, we'd just get into arguments with ourselves on. Whereas we can post any shit we want on our own account.
Oh, yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah, because Jeff was talking about that on there. Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea, but I don't know. I don't like those accounts that just push stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't know about those.
Well, I don't mind it if it's just news. If I'm following a company, here's another rant I wanted to get into.
Yeah.
An example. I like companies that if I like their stuff and I follow them on Twitter, I want them to just push me information. I don't want them to necessarily communicate with me and have a chat.
Don't look at my face.
Right? That's right. I'm interested in your products. Tell me about your products or new news you have or whatever.
You like that for vendors? I like that for magazines sometimes. Like my favorite is
I like it for manufacturers.
Electronics news. I like that one. I think that one's good. But like LT doesn't respond to any of their stuff on Twitter.
Right. Yeah.
So,
some are proactive, others just don't respond at all. It's purely a push service. I like having, if I ask them a question on Twitter, I love getting a response back. I think that's great. But, I do like I'm happy to be pushed stuff. That's why I want to know what new AVR chip has come out, so I'll follow them, or I'll follow Microchip. I want to know what new parts are coming out or something like that. Anyway, the rant I wanted to have is Fluke. Okay,
Uh-oh.
Fluke I'm following Fluke. I think it's Fluke Corp on Twitter. Okay, I stand to be corrected on that. I think that's their name, their Twitter name. And all they're pushing at the moment are these stupid American football tweets.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about that.
It's part of their stupid football-inspired marketing campaign bullshit.
I can't imagine that crosses over much. It's not like, I use a DMM and then I'm gonna go watch some football. It's like no, I use a DMM and then I go look at my Magic the Gathering cards.
Right. They've got the Fluke Football Big Game Suite Alps and season 2010. This is like some marketing thing where you can win a trip to the big game in Arlington, Texas. I don't give a shit. Really? You've got an international audience, Fluke, who listen to you. They don't give a shit about American football or your stupid winter trip to bloody the big game in Texas. We don't care.
You know what they should do
And
is a trip to the Fluke factory. That would be cool.
That would be awesome, okay?
Yeah.
That's
There's a
great.
suggestion.
That's something everyone would love. But
Yeah.
and seriously, like 9 out of 10 tweets in the last week, I think it is, or 8 out of 10, have been just football about how some team beat another team. What the hell?
Yeah,
It's like,
I'm
what
not
a
a big
waste of-
football fan myself.
Even if you are, it's like, no, I'm sorry, I don't want that on my Fluke channel. I
Yeah.
follow Fluke because I want news about new Fluke products.
Well, Dave, you know what you can do?
Win a
You can just
contest to bloody. Oh.
you
Anyway.
can just turn it off. I mean, that is the nice thing about it.
Yeah, I think I will if they don't stop it. Anyway, I'm just curious to see what they're if they respond at all. They may not. You know, we're marketing. We know what we're doing.
You can usually tell looking through a
Bullshit.
company's Twitter, going back, and even people that are following you. You can go back through their old ones, and you can tell pretty quickly if they're a bot or if they're a company, just pushing.
Yeah.
If it's like a WordPress site that's just auto posting stuff, a lot of them are like
Right.
that. So, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
Hopefully people out
Yeah.
there like Twitter. I don't know. I think some of our listeners do. I don't know about all of them. I always encourage engineers to, but I don't know. I like it. I don't know about you, but I just tried it on a whim. A lot of people were talking about it at first.
So did I. I tried it on a whim and I grew to find it very valuable. So yeah.
Yeah, uptake is usually slow, but it's okay. We'll get people on there eventually. We won't push it.
Right.
Yeah.
What else have we got? More rants, more discussion points.
Well, yeah. Let's talk about. So speaking of Twitter, Steve Leapson is one of your friends, right? From
Yep.
EDA 360, and he's actually on
Hey,
Twitter
Steve,
a lot too.
If you're listening.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, he's a big. He's a marketing guy, by the way. He's
right.
But no, he's an engineer. He's an engineer, but he's more into the. He's a EDA. He's a product evangelist.
Right.
Is his wank title.
Right.
And,
Right. I hate that it's like Steve is a very successful engineer, so he's a marketer. That sounds like a bad joke, right? What do you call a successful engineer? A marketer.
A marketer.
God, that's horrible. But at a certain point that happens, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
Anywho, he was talking about an open standard. So this is actually about EDA stuff again, but an open standard between the foundry, so that's the people that are making, the wafers, and their process technologies, and they're actually opening up that standard and then pushing that back to the EDA tool, so that'd be like your Cadence and everybody else that's actually making design software. So, I want to put a BJT down here, and it has to have, this width and this length and blah, 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 blah. So they're now opening that standard up. So what I'm thinking is that this might allow more access, kind of like how we've talked about in the past with that electric, that open source software that talks to MOSIS. So I don't know. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know if it will, but
Right. Please don't tie it into your chip maker machine.
No. I'm not talking about that. This is all about MOSIS. Remember we talked about MOSIS on here.
Yeah, Moses and getting your own chips fabbed and
right. So that was, I guess that was kind of the beginning of it, wasn't it? Boy.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
that was.
And I think it's good. This is a good thing. Anything with they're opening standards. That's great. And it's same thing with the PCB EDA industry. Eagle are now talking about coming up with an XML file format standard. I think we talked about that before, where
we have, yes.
People can all share. The file format's open. It's not proprietary, and all the information's there. And it's great.
I wonder about that, because you think about. I think about huge chip manufacturers like a Maxim or a LT or whoever's using some kind of EDA tool in order to make a final chip, right? They're probably not going to use some rip-off, fly-by-night, one-hung low software company that's then jumping into the software standard, right? So it's almost like there's not a downside there. The only downside is between maybe like a Cadence and a Mentor, which are these two huge behemoths that fight each other all the time. Maybe that's the only one, but they're probably already, friend enemies, frenemies anyway. So what's the big deal?
Exactly. Well, by the way, Steve Leapson actually works for Cadence. So,
does he? I can never tell.
Yeah,
who's he
yeah.
working
Well,
for.
he works for a company that was just bought by Cadence.
Ah,
so
okay.
There you
Okay.
go. So
Yeah,
by
full
default, he's
disclosure.
a Cadence EDA 360 evangelist, I think,
Right.
is the yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Something
So
like
it's
that.
interesting to see that stuff. I don't know if it'll actually drive any software growth in like the open arena, because there is still so much you have to do to get to that final product. But hey, open is good.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah.
And we also wanted to, somebody commented in the comments on the Amp Hour website. How do you pronounce this? Dablornik. Dablornik is his username.
Dablornik? Dablornik?
Something like that. Talked about...
Use your real name, people. Come on.
Yeah.
This is 2010. Brand yourself. Come on. You can call yourself by your real name unless you're talking bad about your employer.
Right.
Don't do that either.
Why not? It's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get... Basically, he wanted to talk about, do you get asked by people to fix stuff? And I've talked about I've done a drive time rant on this on the blog before,
Yeah.
and I get asked all the time, and my universal answer is no, I can't fix your damn plasma TV.
They ask you to fix it. Like, is it like people on the internet are asking you to fix their stuff?
No, like
this is like at
friends.
home?
Like friends and family, acquaintances, work colleagues. They all want me to. You're an engineer. Can you fix my plasma TV? It's just gone on the blink. No, I can't. Go away.
Yeah, there's a repair service that does that really great. You pay them money and they
Exactly.
do it. Yeah, that's interesting.
I could
'cause,
eventually do it.
Right.
but
Yeah.
It'd take me so much time and money that. You go to a service person who's kitted out and has the experience with that. They do it 10 times, 100 times quicker.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah, didn't we have we
they've got access to
showcased
the
him last
parts
week,
and-
didn't we?
yeah, exactly. From,
who was that?
from
Mike?
New Zealand.
Oh yeah, I think it was
yeah.
Mike, right? Ugh. Anyway,
Someone like that.
yeah. There's tons of shops that can do that kind of thing. So I don't know what else. I've had like the tech service requests. I don't know. Did you see that teachparentstech.org?
No, what's
That's
that?
that's a new Google thing. My friend posted it on Facebook the other day. It's a Google. There's this website. I think it was probably like 20% time. You know how Google does that, where the engineers
the 20%.
work on
You
just
work
random
on your own stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And they recorded all these videos on YouTube about how to do random, or not random, but very common tasks like, copy paste something on a computer, or, do a
Right.
virus check, or load your pictures from a camera, all that kind of stuff. And then this Teach Parents Tech is it's just this interface you can just like click all these buttons like dear, and then you click the mom, and then I've noticed that you've been using the computer more lately, and then I'd like to share these, and then you click on all these videos, and then and then at the bottom it's just this really funny interface and then it'll send them an email with all these videos in it, and then that's how you become tech support.
Right.
So,
Awesome.
I think that's the most common thing. So I haven't had the hardware requests as much, but I don't mind.
Well, it's just very common. I'm sure everyone will get it. If they haven't got it yet, they will get it eventually. If people know you're an engineer or into electronics, they will pester you to fix something. And
Right.
yeah, so
I get the
just have a response ready.
when I tell people I'm an engineer, though, I don't usually get I'm surprised by people's responses to it. It's not usually like, oh, well, you fix stuff. At least not right away. I mean, that happens once in a while. But
Right.
usually it's like, oh, that's really hard. And I'm like, yeah, it was hard to do. I mean, it was difficult, but a lot of people can do it. I think that's one of the perception problems of engineering, at least in the United States. I mean, that I can't do that. I don't like math, or I don't like science. And it's like, well, maybe if you don't like math or science, but maybe you haven't been doing the right math or science. Once you actually have an application in mind, then you don't mind doing the math because it's really cool stuff at the end.
Well, I guess anything is easy if you spend the time to learn it. I'm sure you could do brain
Okay,
surgery
yeah.
too. If you spend the time to learn it, it's not like
no.
you're a 1 in a million person because you're a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist.
Yeah,
right? I think
I guess so.
if you want to do it, you go learn it, and you've got to have an aptitude for it as well. I mean, not everyone can do everything. I don't think.
Right, I agree.
Some people's brains are wired better than, or wired differently to other people. It's like, like I know, no matter how I could practiced for 50 years, right? 24 hours a day. I'm not going to beat Garry Kasparov at chess, right? It's
Right.
it's just he is so freaking good that, his brain is wired to do that.
Right.
So, but yeah, I don't think engineering's that hard that your brain needs to be wired in a certain way. It certainly helps, but...
Right. I was having this discussion on, so I think I've talked about it in here, Dr. Thomas Zurbuchen, one of the guys from, I heard him talk at Michigan, and I think I've talked about him on here before. And so he was talking about a similar kind of thing about PhDs and why aren't people, getting PhDs, at least in the U.S. And I wrote on there, a lot of people can do it. A lot of it is, wanting to do it and then having a reward at the end. A lot of the times right now, PhDs don't get paid that much more than like master's students, and you have to do a lot more work. And it's the same kind of thing though. A lot of PhDs I know, they're smart people. They are smart people, but they're also like super tenacious people. They just they just keep doing it and they get it done eventually. So that's the kind of same point, I think. Well, that's interesting. My brother-in-law has been on the show. He has a PhD in laser physics, right? Laser optics. Yeah. But he really couldn't get a job in that field. There was just really nothing out there. So he spent all that time getting his PhD in laser physics. He had to go back to study to be a patent attorney. So now he's a patent attorney. And really?
And the PhD physics helps because he's he's reviewing all, writing patent applications for all sorts of technical stuff. But as you said, there's often not, you go to all the hard work to do it, and there's not the reward at the end sometimes, or sometimes there is.
Right. And the other problem too is like a lot of the companies, they're expecting, because there's so many, foreign citizens that are doing PhDs, at least in the U.S. A lot of U.S. companies take advantage of that, and then they pay them a lot less, and so that depresses wages too. So like, it's kind of like this cyclical thing. At least in the U.S. Like I said, I don't mean to be stereotypical American here, but that's just the exposure I have to it. So, it's too bad that there's not more of a payoff, but at the same time, it seems that the market isn't there for it. It seems. Maybe I'm wrong. Right.
Well, there's an interesting quote from that guy's article from the link. Where is it? Here in his article, we'll link to it. He says, our PhD, I love this quote, our PhD process seems to beat the passion and imagination out of people, and it does a damn good job at it.
Yeah.
I just think that was brilliant.
Well, I mean, you think about a research institution these days, there's so much extra stuff. You're not just in a lab doing the fun stuff. You're writing articles and reviewing art. It's like the whole publisher Paris thing that it's just the institutional stuff that really kind of beats people down.
Yeah.
And not to mention, and I left a comment on there, but a lot of times it depends on who you're working with to the fact of whatever you're doing, right? I mean, if your brother if your brother-in-law went to a different advisor, he'd be doing a completely different degree, possibly not different, but different specialization, and that might have been something where he could get a $200,000 job. That's
of course, it's almost luck, really, in the end sometimes.
Well, so, I think it's research up front, to be honest. I mean, like you have to, if anyone out there is thinking about doing a PhD, it is all, I've heard this over and over again, it's all about who you're working with, or working for, really, your advisor, because they're going to drive the research, they're going to drive how much money you have, and they're going to drive your, how they advise you too, so.
Well, there's also, but especially in Australia here, because it's a smaller country, smaller industry, laser and optical physics was huge back when he was doing it, right? And the job prospects looked fantastic. And then all these optical companies went out of business, and all of a sudden, the market just fell flat, really. So,
we need some kind of large capital investment in laser weapons,
Right, laser weapons, Well, the US have no shortage of money for weapons.
I'm sure, One day.
Anyway.
One day.
We've got a couple of minutes left. I just wanted to, because it was here last week and I didn't get a chance to mention it, the inventables.com. Yeah. So it's World Wide Web inventables.com. And go there and just check out, basically it's a website that just lists all of these sort of obscure engineering materials that you can buy sample quantities of, basically. And the categories are just insane.
Heat
they've got
shielding
consumer
gel is
electronics.
On the front page. Yeah.
What's there?
The heat shielding gel on the front page protects.
Heat shielding, super elastic plastic, shape memory
so cool.
polymer, piezo film. This is just on the front page. And they've got literally, I don't know, it must be 10,000 different things. Apparently this company, they just list your stuff for you. So I don't even know if they actually sell it themselves, but it's got a shopping cart and you can buy sample quantities of all this stuff. So all these companies with these little weird products with these little engineering materials posted on here, and you can buy.
That sounds like
from them.
The beginning of some awesome projects.
I know, it's like temperature-sensitive glass, heat-reactive paint, temperature-sensitive ceramic. This is just on the front page, let alone when you dig down into all the categories.
Wow, that's awesome.
A squishy gel magnet, it's just heaven for the
to make a printable transformer. There we go.
Oh, it's just brilliant. Anyway, check it out. They've got thousands of these. Like, it's almost as if you just want to go through and look at stuff to get ideas for projects. You go, oh, look at that. That really enables me to do this, this, and this. So it's not like you have a project and you go here and look for a part to
it's
fix
your launching point.
This is where you can get ideas from for anything. Oh, it's just...
That's awesome.
Anyway, I think
definitely
it's really
check
cool.
it out. We'll have to,
someone
showcase a couple more
one.
of these. That could be some cool materials. Like the funniest material we can find on here. Maybe there's like an elastic...
right, okay, yeah.
Elastic resistor or something.
Post the most bizarre... because they literally have thousands. I don't think you can actually search through them all. It's that many.
Wow.
So it's just crazy. Anyway, check it out. Inventables.com. So I think that's all we've got time for today. I think we just ranted on about 20 minutes worth of workbenches.
Yeah, we'll have to... I'm sure that'll taper off eventually, but we're still getting into it.
Right.
Workbench of the week is still going strong, so...
Absolutely. This one flew by, so thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.